Hello and welcome to Queendom TV. Today I'm going to be talking about why women go for bad boys, and this video is to the men. This video is to the men. It's to the men and to the women, because I want to break this down, because I don't think it's as simple as bad boys or nice guys finishing last. But I think that given the society that we live in today, it's hard for people to be able to pinpoint why this is like a thing, and it is a thing. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Now, first of all, with regards to let's address the bad boys to begin with. I think the reason why a lot of women ultimately, right, are and again, in order to explain this, I'm gonna have to use, the gender identities that God gave, which are the ones that people are assigned at birth by DNA, because I believe that they do have they are the root, can give us the root cause of why we get into this predicament. Because naturally, men are supposed to be protectors, providers. They, everything about a man to a woman, you're like the protective shield, you're like the one that comes in front, you're the one that looks after, and things like that. And as a woman, you're more nurturing, genuinely you're more caring, generally you're more, what's the word? You can be less decisive, but less decisive because women tend to be more, more, how can I put it? Like, they think more abstractly, it's probably the way that I put it. Whereas with men, it's a lot more black and white. With women, there's a lot more, women are kind of like scientists in a way, if that makes sense. And so I think when it comes down to men and women, the attractive qualities about man to a woman that are just, like, what's that word for this? Like instinctive, like they're instinctive, are like, when you feel like somebody's protecting you or could protect you, you automatically feel, as a woman, are more likely to feel more attracted to him. It's the same thing like, the animals. And I really believe God gave us the animals in the jungles and in the world in general to help illustrate things like this to us so that we can understand. Like, even when you think about how men try to prove themselves to be men, I'm saying as animals, you'll have the male animal trying to prove itself to be the strongest in order to get the woman, or the peacock with its big feathers trying to show off, and I think that men, and that's a natural quality about men. It's a natural thing that men do. Men have egos, and they like to have their egos stroked, whether you guys want to admit that or not. And so it's a natural thing as a woman that when you see somebody that you feel like can give those things from instinct, right, that you're going to go towards them. And I think those are qualities that are associated with what people would class as bad boys, or bad men, or bad guys, the bad guys, the thugs, the this and that. Whether you like it or not, a lot of the men in those categories, they have those qualities about them. Women find that they feel like, oh, that man will protect me, oh, that man can provide for me, whether it's that they're thinking that in their conscious mind, they've something within them gives them that feeling, and they have that energy. It's kind of like big ball energy. Like, I really love the concept of that. It's like, okay, yeah, like you can look after me, kind of thing. And that's something that women want, even though it's 2021 and now everybody's trying to shout about, oh, independent this, independent that, independent this. Like, if we're being totally honest, most women, a lot of even strong women, or even alpha females, if people even believe in that, a lot of alpha females would see that they would prefer that in their marriage, in their home, they would have somebody who could be the one to make the decisions. Especially if you are a strong woman. For a lot of strong women out there, it's actually nicer to have somebody who can in your relationship, in your marriage, well, I'm talking about marriages here, we're not talking about relationships, but in marriages, well, I think relationships as well, but I'm just saying, I don't really like relationships are a waste of time. Get married or don't get married. Like, anyway, I think, yeah, that's something that women look for. So when we look now in the idea of the nice guys, when you look at the idea of the nice guys, now here's the issue that women have. I think, first of all, a lot of nice guys will very happily put themselves in the friend zone, in the bro zone. And for women, there's a key difference here between men and women. Men are much quicker to let women switch between zones in their life. You can be in the friend zone, and then you can be in the friends with benefits zone, then you can be in the wife zone. You can move around in zones. Women are not really like that. We don't tend to waste time with letting anybody just flutter around. We just don't really have time for that as women. Again, I think that's a natural thing about women. So whatever zone you find yourself in, you're more than likely going to stay in that zone. And unfortunately, I think a lot of nicer guys, where they go wrong is they won't approach a woman. And again, it's hard, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's easy to approach a woman, but the reality is, if you as a man do not have the confidence even just to come up to me and say, hello, how are you? You looked really nice over there or something, then as a woman, we're instinctively going to be thinking, how are you going to step in and protect our family if worst comes to the worst? Because that is something we are looking for instinctively. And so as I always say to men, I know that it's not easy, you know, and I'm just talking about the basics of approaching a woman. I know it's not easy, but again, it's something that you as a man, there's an expectation from women, and I'm just keeping it real so people can understand. Don't at me, don't come for me because I'm saying something that's actually going to help you out, if you hear what I'm saying. But I think there's that instinctiveness within women where we look for things like that, where we want to feel like, oh wow. And because you'll have another guy could do it, and he could do it in such a douchey kind of way, and we see that all the time, but because he at least had the confidence to do it, that's why he gets further than the nice guy. And what happens a lot of times with the nice guys is that they sit in the friend zone for just way too long without saying anything. And then, and they'll be the ones who will even let you talk about other guys that you like, because you think, and this is where there's so many guys who end up resentful about women within relationships. And again, this is why I think women don't want to be near nice guys, because like, it's very confusing for us. It's very, very confusing when there are other men who, if they like you and you were to say, oh yeah, I like this guy, they wouldn't like it. And it's not that we like that they don't like, it's not that we like that they're like aggressive or anything as such, but it's the fact that they don't want to let us go. They're making their feelings clear to us, right? And because with men, like I said, the zones can change. We're already aware that without us being told, we could be nothing. And I mean, there's many women who try to convince themselves, who are delusional, and try and tell themselves there's something to somebody that they're not, and they can go ahead and do that. But for a lot of women who are level-headed, they are knowing of that. So again, for the nice guys, unfortunately, yes, they are nice, and women do want guys that are nice. But what we don't want is a guy who's not masculine in the way that we feel is masculine, in the ways that are natural to what men are supposed to do, you know. And even from a biblical perspective, I heard a perfect example, a perfect explanation by Spencer Smith on YouTube, and he talked about why women are supposed to submit to husbands. And what he was saying was that the reason why he believes God did that is because in the fall of man, you know, when to the Adam and Eve story, just to really quickly summarize it. First things first, God gave the instruction to Adam, not Eve, not to eat from that tree, which means that obviously Adam was supposed to share that with his family. But then again, God is already showing the fact that, you know, the chain of command, if you will, in the family. The serpent then goes to Eve, right? And the reason why I believe, and this is what Spencer said, and I totally agree with him, the reason why the serpent goes to Eve is because Eve actually is the one with the most power in the family, because she's the one who looks after the children, she's the one who runs the home, she's the one who has the ear and the vulnerability of her husband, which is again why men have to be so careful about the types of women that they allow in their lives. I did a video about this called Witches versus Angels, the Deception of Femininity. Check it out if you want to know what I'm talking about. But so the idea of having the man is to actually protect the woman from the fact that the enemy is going to try and go to the most powerful, I don't even want to say the most powerful sort, you're probably the most powerful influence in the family. And so when you look at it from that perspective, first of all, it just goes to show that as women, you know, a lot of the time we are going to be the ones, even on a spiritual level, who are going to be more under attack. But on a physical level in life, you know, we live in a society now that's run by men. And I'm not saying that even necessarily in a bad way, but being able to have a man that can stand before you. I mean, if you're a woman, I mean, so many women out there who work for themselves, their husbands are their negotiators. Their husbands are the ones that go and get the money down for them so that they can get a really, really good deal for something, you know. or make sure that they're getting paid well, because that is something that a man is supposed to bring to the table. So I think when women are seeing bad guys, they're maybe not paying as much attention to the fact that maybe they're not as nice as they would like them to be, because at the end of the day they feel like, well, if he loves me and my family, he's going to protect us, he's going to look after us, he's going to provide for us. And with a nice guy, as nice as you can be, as a woman, for me, I'll be honest, the scariest thing for me is for a situation to go down, whether it be us being attacked as a family, physically, verbally, or whatever, and my husband to not be the first one doing something about it. Because although I'm very happy and I'll stand up for myself, and I do stand up for myself, you know, I consider myself to be a very strong woman in that regard. I would want in order for me to even bother to have a man in my life, I need somebody who's going to be even quicker than I am. I need somebody who's going to be even stronger than I am. Because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, men are stronger than women, like by nature. So even in terms of just going out there in life, if somebody attacks me and my husband's not willing to step in, then what am I going to do? And I think this is why, again, it's not so much about the fact that guys are bad or other guys are good. That's a put off. It's not some weird toxic trait like everybody's tried to make it out. It's more about what are the needs of women. And I think because of how society is, again, and how male-led it is, people don't stop to think about the needs of a woman and how they differ from the needs of a man. And so if you're a nice guy and you know you're a nice guy, maybe you're not doing a lot of the negative things that the bad guys are doing, the whatever you want to call them are doing, there are lessons you can learn as to why they get further with women, one of which being clearer about what they want. It's very off-putting to me. I would find it very off-putting to discover I had a male friend who has known me for like 3 years and has been interested in me all along and said nothing. As soon as I discover that, I'm not interested anymore. Because if you have been able, if you've had this, that for me, that's also number one, that's scary, because I'm like, why are you not telling me about it? And I'm just here living in deception, not knowing that I'm living a lie, not knowing that you like me. But also, how are we going to communicate clearly with each other? How are you going to be the decision maker in this family? And again, I'm not trying to say women don't do these things, because like I said, a lot of women do a lot of those things. And that's even more why women want a man like that, because then otherwise it's like, well, I'm already running things as well. And especially in the black community, if I'm going to be totally honest, but a lot of us women who've come from women who've come from single parent households, who are single mother households, a lot of women out there are very self-sufficient and independent. And it's not that for a lot of women, some women just do want to do that and they want to hold that over men's heads. And I'm not talking about those kinds of women, but also because that is the case, the stakes for what we need are very different, because we understand we don't want to be in, a lot of women don't want to be in that same scenario as their single mums, of having to be the only strong one, having to have all the pressure on, or the weight of the weight of the world on their shoulders. They want to have a husband they can collaborate with, but that still stands forward as the protector of the family. And so if you're a nice guy, it might be worth, just go out there. I mean, you don't even, and the funny thing about women as well, just to say, for the nice guys who maybe feel like they're lacking in confidence, first of all, you can fake confidence. In these kinds of things, I think fake it till you make it does work. Second of all, pray for God to give you confidence. But lastly, also remember that us as women, we're very understanding. Remember, we're the slightly more emotional of the two. We're very understanding, and we appreciate effort more than anything, because your effort means something. Even if you approach a woman, if you're there are guys who are way too confident who approach women and don't even care about how sleazy they look. So for you, why not approach a woman? Because if something goes wrong, or you're nervous, or you stutter or whatever, first of all, we're not going to look down. It's unlikely we're going to look down on you for that, because we're going to respect the fact that you did something that took guts to do. And in that scenario, we're going to look at you way more highly than we are the sleazy guy who came with all the confidence in the world. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch on this. I don't believe this is actually a toxic trait whatsoever. I believe this is something that is instinctive, that's a part of our makeup as human beings, something that God gave us as a way internally to assess our own our partners. And I believe there are things about men that they use with women to assess whether they are the partner that they want to be with, and the types of qualities that they want to see in a woman, in order to determine if they think she's a good woman. And and there's even arguments about, and I might do this in my next video actually, there are arguments as to why as to the women in terms of why, you know, there's kind of a discrepancy now between good women feeling like they're just seen as a good wife but not seen as somebody to be properly desired, and then other women feel like they're desired but they're not seen as a wife. And I think there's reasons for that, but yeah, I'm going to speak about that probably in one of my next videos. But thank you so much for watching my video. I hope it's been helpful. Please like, please subscribe, please comment. I really appreciate all the support that I get on my channel so far. It's been amazing ever since I kind of did my reboot. And yeah, if there's anything else you want me to talk about, if you want to give me your thoughts, I would love to hear them in the comments. Other than that, have a lovely day. God bless you all, and I will catch you next time. Bye.